Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2CTV and the first live show of the day. Another day of chaos. We are witnessing turmoil across the Middle East, this time in the IRGC headquarters, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps HQ. Israel decided to hit them directly earlier on this morning, and of course there's been some reaction in this video. We're going to go through all that reaction that we have received. Of course, this followed what happened yesterday when the Iranian militia decided to hit the American base, and of course unfortunately 3 casualties were reported and many injured. Having said that, over the last 12 hours or so, when Israel apparently were planning to do this, Americans were staying out of it. Americans didn't want to get involved, as usual obviously, because they're not really directly helping Israel at this point. They just don't want the backlash, of course, with the elections coming up. But let's find out what's going on. Hello to everybody in the live chat. I also asked you guys in the live chat right now, there's a live poll going on. I said, do you think that Iran will hit Israel directly? So far, 57% of you have said yes, and 43% have said no. We'll find out exactly what's going on towards the end. But let's start with this report. Earlier on, we had the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters in Damascus that was hit by Israel. We have a few seconds of a video evidence of that happening.
هذا القصف حاليا يم السيدة قصفوا الفندق وصف الفندق.
That's the 9-10 seconds video that we have so far, obviously, but it was confirmed by Al Mayadeen, of course, the media outlets. Israel hit the Iran HQ in Syria, in Damascus. Some IRGC casualties. Well, they reported at least 3 of them. 3 of the targets have been eliminated, and multiple injuries from this strike in, of course, Damascus. Some of the deceased were allegedly IRGC officers or commanders, which means that expect over the next few days the ceremonial mourning and funerals that they turned into some sort of weird death festival in Iran, where they basically get all the IRGC members and all the Islamists together to cry and pretend that they even knew the commanders or the officers or whoever they are, and then they'll celebrate that they've gone to heaven to meet their 72 virgins and all the goats that they're going to get received. But at first, when this came out, despite the fact that Al Mayadeen and even Al Jazeera confirmed it because they had the footage and they spoke to people on the ground, the first reaction from Iran, then it changed obviously. First reaction from Iran was denial. It's absolutely fascinating. So Iran denied. The ambassador to Syria said there is no truth to the widespread reports regarding the targeting of an Iranian advisory headquarters in Damascus. And then they realized, obviously they said that to Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera went back to them saying, are you sure? We're there, we can see it. They're like, okay, so they're going to change this statement, and we're going to show you the latest statements that we received from Iran. The fascinating thing about this is that this always happens. Always. So when Iran, the Iranian regime, fabricates some sort of attack, they've done it so many times. And that's exactly how they got into power in 1979. One of the incidents we had was the Cinema Rex. It was this big cinema in Tehran, the capital. They locked everybody in, and when they were trying to do the paramilitary coup against the Shah of Iran, the last king. They locked everybody in. They set the whole thing on fire, and then they blamed it on the Shah, saying the king targeted civilians. And of course, then the evidence came out, realized, oh, it was actually the Islamists themselves that did it. Since then, they go after their own scientists, their own people, and then they take them out. And then obviously, the situation we have is that they blame the Jews and Israel. When they get hit legitimately, like obviously the Iranian headquarters in Syria today, in Damascus, getting hit, they say, no, nothing's happened. Absolutely everything's fine. And then obviously they had to change their statements. Obviously, this is what the main headquarters that they had in Damascus, Syria, which is basically the main command for the region outside of the country. Rishi Sunak The Prime Minister has told Reuters that we are concerned and would urge Iran to continue to de-escalate tensions in the region. We stand resolutely with our allies to bring stability and peace to the region. And that is what we continue to work towards. I'm not really sure if the Iranian regime or any of our enemies would be shaking while hearing our Prime Minister send warnings and urging them. It's not really, it doesn't really have that authority, does it? Rishi Sunak. All right, anyway. We now have the statement, the Iranian regime and the admiral actually spoke to Sprinter, saying that Iran is now ready for a direct conflict. As usual, they're always ready, apparently, every Tuesday. As tensions rise between Iran and the West, amid the Houthis, of course, all the stuff that's happening as well, you got the admiral that has made a preemptive statement of strength to the West. Yep. Habibullah Sayari, yep, that's the name, said Iran's army is at the peak of its combat readiness. Sure, yeah, we believe you. He continues by saying protection of territorial integrity, independence of the country, and independence of the system are three important issues for the army, which must always be in a state of readiness. Now, for those who are not familiar, the people actually in charge of Iran are the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, which is basically even more powerful than the military. So you've got the actual armed forces. They're different. Well, they're still part of the system, but as in, if the time comes and you have to have some sort of internal conflict, the armed forces, technically speaking, they serve the nation. Whereas the Islamic Revolutionary Guard directly serve the supreme leader, and they are the ones who are actually more supreme than the armed forces. So there could, at some point, be a conflict between the actual normal military and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard militants, and that is going to be, a lot of people say it's inevitable, but it's just a matter of timing. It depends on what sort of conflict is going to be happening. It depends on if Iran decides to hit back Israel directly or something like that, which means then they're going to have to go to the country. The Iranian regime have to go to the country and ask people to come and serve. That all go to the front line. That also includes the existing military. And then a lot of people have said that they will probably refuse, but are they brave enough to refuse, considering that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard could just go knock on their doors and drag them out? But that is when people say, if that time comes, that's when you can see the actual resistance from the Iranian people against the Islamic occupiers. But this is all theory, because it hasn't happened yet, obviously. We also unfortunately heard this sad news earlier this morning of an attack in Israel. We had another issue, and this time it's an axe attack, and of course another car ramming through the crowd. And obviously it was a naval base in Israel. A man obviously decided to go through some area, and in Haifa, it was a naval base entrance. They decided to obviously attempt an axe attack. The suspect has now been eliminated by the IDF on the ground, and the injured soldier is now in serious condition, currently based in at Rambab Hospital. That was also the latest from inside Israel. This is the second or third attack we've had over the last, recent days, obviously the last few weeks. We'll find out more about that, and of course how that the attacker was able to do this. But again, the reaction we are getting is getting kind of confusing, because the Americans are still refusing to, kind of scared to directly get involved and be seen to be directly supporting Israel. They're doing it with, obviously, in terms of rhetoric and narrative, but not really action. That's why Netanyahu has gone fully against Biden, saying we're just going to do our own thing. We're going to defend our country. We don't need you around. If you're not going to help us, fine. Americans are now under more pressure to respond and retaliate when it comes to Iran because of what happened yesterday. And this is exactly why you have to be careful about how you're discussing this sort of debate, especially in the mainstream media. You're not going to get proper discussions because there's no nuance. Everything is black and white. But of course, we'll try on 2CTV to go with nuance. We'll try to be objective. We know that there is a bit of strength from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard in certain parts, including actually the Iran headquarters in Damascus. That was actually a powerful base. It really depends on actually how many people have been eliminated, because obviously so far, as we said, they have only reported 3, I believe it said. Yep. Yes, 3 of them have been eliminated and multiple injuries, obviously. That includes a number of IRGC officers and commanders. But the Iranian regime have been bluffing for about 40 years or so, saying we are always ready for conflict. But at the same time, there's no point in us being complacent. But there's no point in trying to do fear-mongering and trying to use it as an excuse to start a random conflict either. When you have people like Lindsey Graham in America, Senator Graham, and of course all the others, always on standby to just start some sort of conflict somewhere, it's probably best to avoid them as well. If you are doing something in self-defense, absolutely do it and destroy the enemy. But if it's not in self-defense, you have to assess the situation. You can't just say, well, let's just go invade another country and wish for the best. You can't do that anymore. 20th century is gone. And I know humanity, we never learn from mistakes in history, but I think it's time our political leadership start to talk about what they did wrong all those decades ago, including what they did to Iran, Jimmy Carter, that nutter, and obviously helping with using CIA to help the Islamic occupiers. Let's look at the live poll again. In the live chat, obviously, I asked you guys, do you think Iran will hit Israel directly after this? The latest numbers are now, okay, it's gone up. It's changed now. 49% yes, 51% no. It's getting close to the Brexit vote all over again. Right. Hubba Hubba says, Iran is just a paymaster, like the US is concerning regime changes over the world. But that's the thing. So we always talk about, when we talk about the US and the Western globalists, some people forget the reason we say Western globalists is because there's also such thing as Eastern globalists. And, they're also as bad as the Western side. When you got the likes of the Iranian regime and the Chinese Communist Party, or these guys trying to also do regime change, try to manipulate not just geopolitical issues, but of course the markets and everything else. Both sides are doing it to each other, and of course from different perspectives. The fight is not really currently between nationalism versus globalism. It's between Western globalism and Eastern globalism. We're sitting in the middle, waiting to see how much we're going to get affected by it. But we're not directly fighting back against globalism. That's the problem. Angel of Death. Thank you so much. One of our regulars saying, I've been watching you now for around 6 to 8 months. And in that time, you've grown by 100,000 subscribers. Keep going. Actually, I do have to say massive thank you again to everybody. We actually still going up. It's now 385,000. A couple of days ago, we were on 377,000. Almost, well, it's 8,000 now. Almost 10,000 extra subscribers over the last couple of days. Thank you so much. We are trying to obviously continue this campaign of get 2CTV to 400k, and obviously I started this last night. If you could share the videos on the channel, and if you get one person you know, or maybe 2 people you know, to subscribe to the channel and become regular viewers, we could actually get to 400k and continue to beat the mainstream media ratings. All right, who needs actual analog TV when you have 2CTV? Right, let's go back to you guys, see what you're saying. It will solve the global warming reflect. Oh, this was out of context message. Okay. Oh yeah. Lindsey Graham always wants more war. Yeah, he's always looking for some sort of conflict somewhere. I don't understand why Trump keeps backing him. Well, it's one thing is about the internal politics of the Republican Party. It's the same thing with the Democrats, obviously. Certain people have influence, whether you like it or not. They have influence, and you can't really. So if you can kick them down. Sort of like what Trump did with Mitt Romney at the time, a few years ago. Then do it. Because, he's the alpha Trump in the room. But you have to also be careful about the primaries and what's going to happen when Trump becomes the nominee. But, he doesn't really like Lindsey Graham. We know that. Unelected senile Joe has no guts, no working brains, and no backbone. Muslim Obama runs the US, and the US is amazing. Yes, to be fair, we have talked about this repeatedly on the channel, how Barack Hussein Obama has been seen around the White House quite often recently. Maybe he just likes the canteen in the building. I don't know. Maybe he left something behind in one of the rooms. I don't know. Barry says, the reason why I have said no, to the live poll, do you think Iran will hit Israel? as proof has shown, they are cowards and rely on the groups to do that. Yes, I mean, that's a good point. First things first, you actually know that what they did today, hitting the Iranian headquarters, the IRGC headquarters in Damascus, is still going to be seen as not necessarily proxy anymore, because it is directly in IRGC base headquarters in Syria. It's not a, for example, the Houthis or whatever. So the Iranian regime are under pressure to do something more directly. They don't have to hit Tel Aviv, but hitting Israel directly also means hitting IDF soldiers wherever they are, including Gaza. They can do that. But they are now going to be under more pressure. The Iranian regime has been based on, built and based on survival. They simply want to survive. And because of the corruption and everything else, they wish that they could be more ideological, Puritan, like the original supreme leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, who took over in 1979. But the guys who are now in charge over the last few decades, these are the people who go into power. They got a little bit of money, just like the leadership in Gaza with Hamas, and they know that it's no longer about their own Islamic empire. It's about their greed. They send their kids to London to go hang out in Chelsea bars and clubs and go to the most expensive schools in London. These people want power and money, which means they will do all they can to avoid direct conflict, because they know if there's a direct conflict, they will be wiped out within 2 months. I mean, exaggeration, it's not going to be 2 months. Maybe even Gaza has taken a couple of years to sort out. But they will not survive because they do not have the backing of the ordinary Iranians in the country. We have an opponent in the live chat. I miss having someone trolling us. What is going on? Where is it gone? I've just missed the comment. I was so excited. Hang on. Someone said, if I could go back up, 2CTV or Maya, whatever. There we go. Let's go find his comment. OG says, Maya, the clickbait champion. Yes, I fabricated an airstrike on AI, and I basically pretended that Israel had hit Iran headquarters in Damascus, Syria. Yeah, and then I put the title. It's all fake, even though it was confirmed by Al Jazeera, confirmed by Al Mayadeen, confirmed by Syria, confirmed by IDF, and then initially denied by Iran, then confirmed by Iran. But no, so it's all clickbait. These people can vote. Right, what else do we have in the... Well, the Pete is now coming in defense of 2CTV. OG the puppet. Amazing. I don't even have to actually counter these arguments because you guys are very good at defending us. So thank you so much. BBC is a joke. 2CTV is the best. It's all right. 2CTV is all right. What is going on? Maya, he looks good in that MAGA hat. Oh, yeah. The MAGA hat is too small for my head. That's the problem. Here we go. If Tusi was clickbaiting, he would be in a wet leotard doing gardening. I don't think people know the definition of clickbaiting. You will literally click on a video and it will be a completely different video. That was the whole point of clickbait. The whole point of... Do you remember the early days of YouTube where you would see some sort of very exciting thumbnail and a title, and you click on it, it would go to that song? What was it? There was a song that everybody was basically pretending it was like a prank sort of thing, clickbaity prank, just to get people to click on a video. That's clickbait, you idiots. All right. Let's go back to you guys. Always Pooh says, Maya, you need a studio. How dare you be in your living room? Yes, so the plan is obviously, well, so far we had to rely on the YouTube ad revenue to continue to grow the channel, and I refuse to get financial backing. I don't want to be owned by anybody or controlled by anybody. I want to remain independent. But we are growing now, and we're actually working on a very exciting product for you guys, and a new platform, independent platform, as well as YouTube. Because obviously we have attempted before with membership sites and things like this, like locals that we have. But over the next few months, we're going to be launching 2CTV Plus. It's going to be an independent platform. We're going to have podcasts. We're going to have everything on it, as well as the YouTube, obviously. In terms of reach, YouTube will always help with the reach, increasing the viewers. But once we get that, that's when obviously I'm going to be expanding the team, going to be hiring a couple of people soon as well within the next few months. And then we can actually have a proper studio and everything else. But I have to do it slowly instead of rushing it, instead of actually selling out to someone because they own me. I don't want to do that. I want to take it slowly as possible to make sure everything's quality over quantity, basically. Right. Sorry, I'm objectifying Maya. He's just too lovely. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Continue to objectify. Right. LJM Records says Islam is clickbait. Actually, Islam is the definition of clickbait. It says one thing, and then you open the book, like, whoa, I thought you were going to offer me free candy or something, but no, you want me to hit my wife? All right. Angels of Death says, Maya, do the next Zoom meeting in a wet leotard. Challenge accepted. So obviously we have a part of our membership club. We have regular video calls on Zoom if you want to join us. The link is in the description. Or you can be patient. Over the next few months, we're going to be launching the new platform. So we'll wait for that as well. All right. Let's go see. Let's stay on the topic because we got distracted. We're talking about me now. Stop talking about me. There we go. Emperor, wow. It says, unless Iran wants Israel to entirely mop the floor with them, I'd assume they would not directly target Israel. Well, yes. They know, they're probably assessing the situation. Inside the Iranian regime, they know. They're counting how many people they have who are loyal soldiers for the regime and how many they can force to join. And they can probably see the numbers. They can probably see that they're not going to have the backing of the people. So it's probably not wise for the Iranian regime to directly get involved unless they are basically looking at the end game, unless they know this is the final countdown and they have to find a way to cause chaos. And then while the chaos is happening inside Iran, they will escape, go somewhere quietly like Cuba or Venezuela or wherever else that they have all these safe havens that they've all, to first some of them might just come to London because London apparently is the home of the nutters, all the enemies. Anyone that hates the West somehow gets invited to move to London. It started with Karl Marx, by the way. I don't know why we invited Karl Marx to come here. Oh, because they couldn't write his newspapers in Germany. Who cares? Kick him out. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We're going to have a lot of updates for you guys today. We're going to be talking about China threatening Iran. They're kind of falling out because of the Houthis. It's all kicking off, obviously. But then we're going to talk about Joe Biden. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Of course, we're also going to talk about what's going on inside Britannia and specifically Scotland, because Humza Yousaf is once again proving that he's absolutely useless. And we're going to show you what the Metropolitan Police is doing in London with double standards of policing. Yeah, we've got two-tier policing now between how they treat Muslims and how they treat Christians. You can probably guess how they do it. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.